Hi everyone, this is Dirk. Thanks so much for tuning in. There are three things factoring in when it comes to picking components for your PC: functionality, design, and of course, budget. Functionality. I wanted to build a PC that allows me to play games on, to edit 4K videos, but also where I can mine some Ethereum. Here you see me unboxing the ASUS ROG Strix Z590-A gaming motherboard. In terms of design, I wanted to go for a classic and clean look, but still a little bit aggressive. And in terms of budget, I didn't really have a budget in mind, but I also didn't want to spend too much money. As you know, I was lucky enough to get the Asus TUF Gaming Radeon RX 6800 graphics card at retail value. For the processor, I picked the Intel Core i7-11700K. For the case, I picked the Nzxt H710i. Having a black and white matte finish look in mind, I picked the Corsair Vanagons LPX DDR4 memory, and as a CPU cooler, I chose the Noctua NH-D15S Chromax Black Dual Tower CPU cooler. As my main drive, I chose the Samsung 970 EVO Plus M.2 drive, and for the PSU, I picked the Corsair RM1000X. To get a nice clean look, I purchased the CableMod Sleeved Classic Cable Kit, although I have to honestly say that it's overpriced, but at the time it was the only CableMod kit that was available. First, we insert the processor in the motherboard. Because of its shape, there's actually only one way it can go. You would unhook the lever on the right side. To be on the safe side, make sure the print on the processor is not upside down. Put the CPU in place, and then you push down the lever and automatically the protection plastic cover comes off. And now it's time for our beautiful CPU cooler. First we have to flip around the motherboard in order to insert the backplate through the 4 holes around the processor. And now we're putting the 4 spacers in place before we set up the mountain bars. And now we're affixing the bars with the supplemented thumb screws. Since the CPU cooler is so big, this would have been the perfect time to insert the desktop memory, but I didn't think of that. What I did right was to install the M.2 drive before installing the cooler. We have to unscrew the heatsink, remove the plastic underneath the heatsink, insert our M.2 drive and secure it with a screw. And then we'll put the heatsink back in place. I picked Cryonet Thermal Grizzly because compared to other thermal pastes it gives so much better temperatures. Before the application, I cleaned the top of the sensor with an alcohol wipe. There are different methods how to apply thermal paste. You could make a dot or a cross, but I wanted to make sure to have a consistency across the entire processor, so I chose this method with a speckle, distributing the thermal paste evenly across the CPU. It is not as soft as many other thermal pastes, so the application is a bit more labor intense, but the great temperatures you're getting out of Thermal Grizzly are rectifying the extra work. Making sure there's no dust on the bottom, I was ready to install the cooler, until I noticed that although I installed the mountain bars according to the manual, they were installed with the wrong orientation. And now it was time for me to set the cooler aside, unscrew the thumb screws, and reinsert the mountain bars with the right orientation. Making sure the thumb screws are sitting firm but not overly tight. Now it was really time to install the cooler. Without applying excessive force, we have to screw the cooler down until the screws simply come to a stop. A PC fan blows in the direction where you can see the manufacturer's label. This in mind, we insert the cooler fan and simply clip it on. And now we connect the fan header to the connector on the motherboard. We have to be very careful inserting the motherboard into the computer case. There are little standoffs that we need to line up with the holes in the motherboard and carefully put it down. Once it's in place, we secure it with a total of 8 screws. If you have only 2 memory modules like me, you would install them in the first and third or second and fourth DIMM slot by just lining it up, pushing it down until it clips in. Now we're connecting all the cables from the case to the motherboard, starting with the USB 3.2 header, followed by the USB 3.2 Type-C connector. And now a USB 2 connector before we get to the more tricky part, the system panel header. This is a bit finicky, but it's pretty detailed and well explained in the manual. After that, we're connecting the audio header and finally the chassis fan header. That's pretty much it. I know it looks a bit messy, but we'll take care of cable management later on. Now we want to connect everything to the power supply unit. I start on the top left of the motherboard with the ADX connectors, giving the CPU a bit extra juice in case we want to overclock. From all the connectors, this is the most inconvenient one. That's why I start with this. We're routing it to the back of the computer. The next step is to connect all the necessary cables to our power supply unit. That includes the main power connector, the SATA power connector, ADX and PCIe connectors. Once done, we can push in the PSU and attach the power supply mount to screw it onto the case. We secure it with 4 screws. Then we can push it in completely to affix it to the PC case. Here I'm connecting the SATA cable to power the case fans. Next, we want to connect the main power cable to the motherboard. We have to push it down with a certain force, but still gentle enough not to break the motherboard. And now I'm already starting to clean up a little bit, while bringing the PCIe cables in place that power the graphic card. We have to unscrew and take out the space holders for the graphic card, In fact, I forgot to remove one of them, but you'll see this in a little bit. Now I'm connecting the PCIe power cable to the graphic card. When we want to install the GPU, we have to line it up with the PCIe X16 slot of the motherboard. Here you can see that the piece that I forgot to remove just fell off, so I could easily remove it. Once it is aligned, we give it a firm push so the graphics card simply snaps in. And now we have to secure it with 2 screws to the case. And this could be it, but I wanted the PC to look nice, so I started with cleanup and cable management. It is a finicky process, but in the end it is very rewarding. Before assembling the complete case, I wanted to test the PC, and the suspense was killing me when I first turned on the power on the PSU and then pushed the power button on the case. Everything looked good so far, and then it was such a relief to see the loading screen on my monitor. After installing Windows 10, I wanted to test the PC without any overclocking or tweaking. I used Cinebench R15, and out of the box we scored 2310, which is pretty good. And now let's take a closer look. This is exactly what I wanted to accomplish: a white and black matte finish with a clean but still aggressive look. Isn't it beautiful? I think it was worth the time and worth the efforts, and I really like it a lot. Please let me know in the comments below what you think. Do you like it? Do you have any comments for me? Are you planning to build a PC sometime soon? And now this PC is a part of my setup, with the MSI GE75 Radeon to the left, the external monitor of my laptop in the middle, and to the right, the monitor, keyboard and mouse of the new PC. Thanks so much for watching this. If you liked it, please leave a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. And tune in soon again. Bye for now.